Welcome to Trade Pro. I'm really excited to announce the release of the highest profit trading strategy script and a separate divergence indicator for many indicators. So this one has been requested more than anything else. Ever since the release of the highest profit strategy video, where I tested it 100 times and it still holds the #1 spot on the strategy ranking spreadsheet for the highest profiting strategy. So many people have been requesting to get it turned into a trading script and have an indicator for divergence to get these setups where you don't need to be waiting on your charts. So after so many requests, finally we were able to get it done quite accurately. It's really hard to code divergence and have it be really accurate and timely with the signals that it gives. So we have it here and I'm going to go over it. This is available to the Patreon members. Anyone who's currently a Patreon, you just automatically will get access given to you. And if you want to become a Patreon, the chart god tier is the one that gets access to all the trading scripts and indicators that we've come out with. So this one I'm the most excited about out of any that we've released because I personally use Divergence to trade with, and this trades in a very similar way that I personally trade, getting in on those pullbacks, going with the main trend, using Divergence to your advantage to spot the end of a pullback and get in for that trend continuation. So really awesome that this is out, and I'm excited about it. So let's get into it. I'm just break down exactly what's happening, why it's entering positions, what it's entering positions based on, as well as the different settings. I don't want to make it too long, so I'm not going to get super in depth on each little thing, but just going to break down the main things that are important. So let's get into it. If you aren't quite sure what I'm referring to when I say this is based on the highest profiting strategy from the ranking spreadsheet, what I'm talking about is this ranking spreadsheet where I've tested 70 different trading strategies 100 times each on the channel and ranked them based on the gain on the account after 100 trades, risking 1% per trade. So this is the #1 spot holder of the ranking spreadsheet. That's why it was so highly requested. I'll link 2 videos about the strategy in the description down below. So I recommend watching those to learn more about the trading strategy that this script is based on. And that way you can see a bunch of examples and just understand what I'm talking about a bit more if you haven't already seen those videos. But I'll quickly go over a couple of these examples just so you can get a quick refresher of it before getting into the different settings of the script. So let's just kind of zoom in on some of these entries and talk about it. So you can see that this is based on bearish and bullish divergences, and it's only trading with the main trend direction. The main trend direction is based on these 2 exponential moving averages. So when white is under yellow, it's considered a downtrend. It's only going to take the bearish divergence entry signals. And what a bearish divergence is when you get a lower high on the MACD, but at the same time, you get a higher high on the price action. So that's why it entered here. You get the higher high on the price, but at the same time, a lower high on the MACD. And you can see the same thing over here with these 2 entries, higher high on price, lower high on the MACD, higher high on price, and lower high on the MACD. And it takes those short entries once the pivot has confirmed. So you can see that it doesn't enter exactly right here. It enters a few candles later. And you can change that in the settings, but I found that this setting is the most effective. And then if we take a look over here, once the white crosses above the yellow, it's going to look for bullish divergences. So lower lows on price, but higher low on the MACD. And what I recommend with any of these signals that it gives you is just double checking the MACD to make sure it all checks out, because coding divergence just is quite difficult, and getting it to give really accurate and timely signals is very difficult. So just double check the MACD, just make sure it's giving you the proper setup. Most of the time it does a great job, but there's rare occasions where the indicator is just going to give you a kind of a wonky signal, and that's just normal with trying to use Pine script to code divergence accurately. So the human eye is always the best at spotting this type of thing. So just make sure you double check whenever you get a signal from it that the conditions are actually being met on the MACD. All right. Now let's get into the indicators and settings. This one here is separate from what you're seeing up on the actual chart. This one can be used with a bunch of different indicators. So you can use RSI, check and money flow, stochastic RSI, and MFI, as well as regular and hidden divergences, both. So I'm going to break it down here. Let's get into it. All right, so I've gotten rid of the full strategy and just kept the divergence indicator set up with the MACD to detect regular divergence, but you can go in and change it to use whichever indicator you would like out of the RSI, the check and money flow, stochastic RSI, and the money flow index. You can also decide if you wish to have it show just regular divergence, or just hidden divergence, or both regular and hidden divergence. So if I pop that on, you'll see some more signals will pop up with the hidden divergences. What I want to do is go on the bar replay feature and show some signals just so you can see what the delay is like for getting those divergence alerts. So let's zoom in on the farthest left signal over here. And we're going to hop on the bar replay feature and show what the delay is like so you would know when you would actually be getting the alert for the divergence in real time. And it can actually be changed. So right now I have it set to give the signal 2 bars after the low of the pivot. So let me show you what I mean here. So it's about to detect a regular bullish divergence. And you can see when it happens there, it just popped up now. So that's actually going to be after the 2 bars here. So you can see it happened or detected it to be right down here, but you didn't actually get the signal till this bar here had closed and this next bar opened. All right. So let's play it till the next one. And there's another one coming up here. Slow it down here. There it is. So just give the signal there, which would be on this right here. Let's play it out here and go a couple more so you can get an idea of when to expect these signals. I believe there's another one coming up here soon. All right, there we go. Got another one. So you can see on this candle, then 1, 2, so we get that signal right here for the bearish divergence for a short. And then we get another one actually here in just a sec. And this one happens 1, 2, right on this candle. So you get it in this area here. Oops. And I believe the next ones are some regular bullish divergences. So you can see 1, 2, so you're going to get it up here. And then I believe there's another regular bullish divergence about to be signaled right down here. 1, 2, let's see, right here. And that is the one that really takes it off. So you'd probably get stopped out on this one, and then this one will work. And then the next one is another bearish divergence, regular. And that's going to be occurring right here. So you get that bearish divergence. And another bullish divergence will appear down here in just a sec. There it is. So you're going to get that one in here. And this is 5-minute chart in case you can't see. But that was the last signal that I'm going to go over on the bar replay, just so you can kind of see an idea of when you're going to be getting the signal in real time, because it can be misleading with just seeing it not on the bar replay. You're not getting the signal at that exact peak. You're getting it a couple candles later, and you can change the setting to detect the pivots faster or slower. All right, so now I've switched out the divergence indicator for the divergence strategy. And this is based specifically on the #1 highest profiting strategy as shown on 2 other videos and the ranking spreadsheet. So it's not going to let you choose between different indicators for the divergence detection. All right, so this is going to be using the MACD just like in that specific strategy that I've talked about. And if you don't know that strategy, again, go watch the 2 videos I have on it. But let's go over all the settings for this. So just starting out up top here, first we have the trend detection, which is based on 2 exponential moving averages. So when you have the fast EMA over the slow EMA, the strategy is only going to take long positions based on bullish divergence. And when the fast EMA is below the slow EMA, it's only going to take short positions based on bearish divergence. You can choose which 2 EMAs you would like for the trend detection. Next, there's the MACD settings. So if you wish to use something other than the default MACD settings, you can try those out as well. And a couple important things here. We have the MACD cross required for divergences. And what this is, if enabled, the strategy will only consider those MACD divergences valid that have the MACD and signal lines cross at least twice in the span of the divergence without either line touching the 0 line. So if you listen closely to the rules of the highest profiting strategy that I've shown in those 2 other videos, this is one of the rules. Specifically, this type of divergence is a higher probability divergence. So we have the option to choose whether or not you want to accept divergences that don't meet this criteria, or if you must have this criteria being met in order for the strategy to consider an entry. And then there's also the MACD cross validity. So if you read this, the number of bars a MACD cross is considered valid for. So how many bars should the strategy treat a MACD cross as still active following the bar on which the MACD crossed? This allows for positions being opened even if a divergence is confirmed a few bars after the MACD cross. So in the original highest profiting strategy, the entries are based on the MACD cross, but with this script, the script is detecting the divergences sometimes later than the MACD cross. So you can choose how long should the strategy still allow an entry after a MACD cross, because sometimes the pivots aren't detected in time for the MACD cross, and I have it set to 3. So then we have the divergence settings where you can change the pivot look back, the detection source, and whether or not the candle pivot detection mode is for bodies or wicks. So if we change, let's say, to wicks, we will see the results change as well slightly. And if we change from oscillator to price for the pivot detection source, we're going to see the results change as well. And it looks like it takes less trades. So it's going to be just a bit different. And each one of these is explained. For the pivot look back right, that is going to be where you determine how many bars the strategy waits for an entry. So as you can see, you get this regular bearish divergence signal up here, but the entry doesn't actually happen for 5 bars later because it's set to 5 right here. Pivot look back left is based on how many bars to wait before trying to detect pivots. The lower the number is, the earlier pivots, and therefore divergences will be detected, but the quality of those divergences will be lower. Then there's the max of look back range. So this is the maximum number of bars that the pivot lows and pivot highs can be apart for detected divergence to be valid. And then the minimum look back range, which is the minimum number of bars the pivot lows and pivot highs must be apart for the detected divergence to be valid. Next, we have the pivot change filter, which is here to help the strategy stay out of ranges. So there needs to be a certain amount of movement between the peaks that are being detected. And if we go farther down, we have some of the stuff you see on the other scripts where you can restrict entries to a certain date range, certain days of the week, and certain times of day. You can put in the commission for your exchange. There's also an RSI filter, so you can have it do only longs when the RSI is in the oversold territory and only short when the RSI is in the overbought territory, or the opposite to only short in the oversold and only long in the overbought territory. And here is another very important section with the position exit settings. So for the stop loss and the take profit target, we have a bunch of different things you can do. You can have it ATR based, percent based, tick based, pivot based. So pivot based would be trying to use the swing highs and swing lows. You can also have it be a certain amount of ticks above the swing low or high if you're using the pivot based stop loss. And then for the take profit target, you can have it be a risk multiplier. So if you just want it to be 2 times your risk, you can have it be ATR based, percent based, or tick based as well. And we even have a trailing stop loss. Then we have the ability for you to close a position if the price crosses a certain moving average of your choice, exponential or simple moving average. You can close it after a certain number of minutes, close it after reaching the end of a trading session, and then custom order size settings, so percent risk of equity per trade. And then we have the alerts. So there's also a trading widget and some other things here, but I don't want to drag this video on too long. So just give it a quick run through of everything. I think I've covered most of the main aspects that you need to be aware of. There's a lot of stuff you can customize with it, so it'll take forever to do a deep dive, but that's why there's these little infographic here for each of the settings so you can read it and understand what it means if you are using this and wondering what something does. There's an explanation for it next to each of these settings. But anyway, thank you guys so much for listening and watching. I'm a huge fan of this, both the strategy and the indicator. As someone who trades with Divergence myself, I'm definitely going to be trying it out and testing out the alerts. So thank you so much. If you're interested, again, check out the Patreon page and smash the like button. Have a nice day. Thank you.